It is so wonderful to see you all here on this very exciting occasion. I am Risa Goluboff. I'm the Dean of the Law School, and I am delighted to welcome you all to the launch of our new Education Rights Institute. I want to thank everyone who made today possible, most especially Kimberly Robinson, who none of this would exist but for the amazing Kimberly Robinson. So we're going to clap again for Kimberly. I also want to thank her team at the Education Rights Institute, our events, communications, IT, and building services teams, and everyone else who has been so helpful in making today's event run so smoothly. I also want to thank our remarkable speakers and panelists, you know who you are, who have traveled from near and far to be here. We cannot wait to hear what you have to say. And I want to thank all of you in the audience who have traveled from out of town to be here today. It would not be an event with this much energy and excitement without all of you here to participate in it. I also want to thank the anonymous donor whose generosity has made it possible to realize Kimberly's vision of an institute that will be able to imagine and enact real positive change in the American education system. So most of the program is going to be about education, as it should be, but I thought that for my couple of minutes, I would just take a somewhat broader perspective. So I am a civil rights historian by training, and I have spent a lot of my academic career thinking about how we create legal and social change in the world. And I think it's often easy to think that change happens as the result of a couple of really famous people. In law school, that often takes the form of Supreme Court justices, maybe other judges, maybe a famous lawyer like Thurgood Marshall or Ruth Bader Ginsburg, even before they become justices. But the main thing I have taken away from my own scholarship is how many people it takes to make legal and social change. It takes an individual or a group of people identifying problems of their own that they are facing. It takes them going to others, lawyers or policymakers or elected officials, to say something needs to be done about these problems. It takes institutions and resources and lawyers and scholars and political, social, legal, and intellectual change that enable all of this to happen. It takes scholars who identify and theorize and bring evidence to bear on particular problems, and it takes lawyers willing to take cases and open up new doctrinal avenues. And then finally, it takes institutions willing to provide homes for those scholars and resources to bring together community members and activists, grassroots organizations, and policy members, lawyers and scholars. And then finally, it takes courts and government agencies and judges and regulators and administrators ready to hear those arguments and resolve those cases and make change. Over the course of her remarkable career, Kimberly Robinson has been one of the people willing to fight for greater equality in our education system. She has been one of the lawyers seeking to make positive change, both as an education litigation attorney at the firm now known as Hogan Lovells, and as a member of the General Counsel's Office at the U.S. Department of Education. And she is also one of those scholars devoting her considerable intellect and talents toward the project of guaranteeing a federal right to every student to receive a high-quality education. So I could not be more delighted that through Kimberly's efforts, we now have an Education Rights Institute that will bring so many of these groups of people who help make social change together. Researchers investigating the critical components of a high-quality education and the opportunity gaps that school districts face. Scholars who provide evidence for and stimulate and engage in public debate surrounding a federal right to a high-quality education, and lawyers who work with school districts to implement effective remedies and produce effective change. I will say, this law school and this university were founded to serve the public. They imagined a different public. They imagined different people sitting in this room, but we still serve the public, and I think one of the ways that we do so is to create resources like this for scholars and lawyers to be able to create change. And so I am honored that we are part of Kimberly's vision and her project. I'm also honored that the law school will serve as home to the Education Rights Institute as part of the larger web of scholarship, teaching, law, and policy around K-12 education that stretches across so much of the University of Virginia, with the goal of expanding educational opportunities for all children. This includes Jim Ryan, UVA's president and an education law scholar himself, from whom you'll hear in a minute, and I'll give a longer introduction. This includes clinicians and scholars and teachers here at the law school, many of whom are in this room, and I hope you will meet. This includes the experts at the School of Education and Human Development and at the Frank Batten School of Leadership and Public Policy, at the Equity Center, and in so many other offices, programs, lecture halls, and meeting spaces at the university. It is the work of all of these people and more, in conjunction, of course, with the teachers, administrators, students, and families who fill our schools, who will bring positive change to our education system. So it is my hope that when the story of securing a high-quality education for all is written by the historians of the future, they will describe the critical role that the Education Rights Institute played in the process as a provider of resources and a creator of new and relevant knowledge, as a hub and amplifier for crucially important legal and social change. So it is now my honor to introduce my friend and boss, UVA President Jim Ryan. Jim needs no introduction, certainly not in this room, so I will be short and sweet. Jim is the 9th president of UVA and a leading expert on law and education. He is an honors graduate of both Yale University and this law school. He began his academic career here at the law school, where he was the Matheson and Morgenthau Distinguished Professor of Law. He served as the vice dean, and he founded and led our program in law and public service. Jim's scholarship focuses on the ways in which the law structures educational opportunity in this country, and has included topics such as school desegregation, school finance, school choice, and the intersection of special education and neuroscience. While on our faculty, Jim co-authored the textbook Educational Policy and the Law, and he authored the book 5 Miles Away, A World Apart, which explores the vast differences between 2 schools in Richmond, Virginia. Jim left the law school in 2013 to become dean of the Harvard Graduate School of Education, where he increased the size, strength, and diversity of the faculty, oversaw the expansion and redesign of professional education and master's programs, and led a successful capital campaign. It's hard to overstate how excited we all were at the law school when Jim announced that he would be returning to be the president of the university. Since becoming president in 2018, he has supported our community and articulated a vision for how we can together be both great and good. He has secured our future by leading us through an ongoing capital campaign that will raise $5 billion, and he has led us through moments of both great joy and profound tragedy. We are lucky to have him at the helm, and I can think of no one better to welcome us on this occasion. So please join me in welcoming Jim Ryan.